You're in a heated meeting. Someone just threw shade at your idea in front of everyone. Your heart rate spikes, your jaw clenches. Every fiber of your being screams, defend yourself. But what if I told you that the most powerful move you could make in that moment is absolutely nothing at all? What if I told you that the person who stays silent while others lose their minds holds a secret weapon that ancient philosophers spent lifetimes perfecting? A weapon so subtle, so devastating, that it can shift the entire dynamic of any room without uttering a single word. Here's the brutal truth. Every time you react to someone's provocation, you're not showing strength. You're advertising your weakness. You're handing them the remote control to your emotions, and they're channel surfing through your peace of mind. That burning need to explain yourself, that desperate urge to be understood, it's not power, it's a prison you've built with your own words. The ancient Romans had a phrase, silentium est aurum, silence is golden. But they didn't mean the kind of silence that comes from having nothing to say. They meant the kind of silence that comes from having everything to say and choosing not to. Today, I'm going to show you why the most successful, respected, and genuinely powerful people in history mastered one skill above all others: the strategic use of silence. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why your next argument might be your last, because you'll be too wise to have it. If you're ready to discover the kind of inner strength that doesn't need to prove itself, hit that subscribe button. Let's unlock the power that whispers louder than any shout. The puppet master's game. There's a certain type of person who feeds on your reaction, not your opinion, not your truth, but your raw, unfiltered response. They drop a comment like, "The fishing line," waiting to see what they can pull up from the depths of your emotions. Here's what they're really after. They want to see you squirm, scramble, and lose your composure. Because the moment you take that bait, the moment you let their words penetrate your peace, they've won something far more valuable than any argument. They've hijacked your emotional state. Marcus Aurelius understood this game better than anyone. You always own the option of having no opinion. That's not apathy, that's strategic detachment. That's knowing you don't owe anyone a front row seat to your inner world. The mirror effect. Carl Jung discovered something profound. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. But here's the twist. This only works if you don't get lost in their noise. When you stay silent while someone is trying to provoke you, something magical happens. Your silence becomes a mirror, reflecting back their insecurity, their desperation for validation, their hunger for reaction. And most people aren't prepared for that kind of self-confrontation. The Socratic secret. Socrates built his entire legacy on a simple principle. Strong minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, weak minds discuss people. Most provocations? They're just small talk for the intellectually lazy. But Socrates had another trick up his sleeve. He didn't defeat opponents with clever arguments. He asked questions. He let their own contradictions unravel their positions. His power wasn't in having all the answers. It was in creating the space for truth to emerge naturally. The cost of constant combat. Here's what they don't tell you about winning arguments. Even when you win, you can still lose everything that matters. You might walk away with the last word. But what did it cost? Your peace, your time, your mental clarity? It's like walking through a swamp in fresh clothes. You might make it across, but you won't emerge unchanged. Aristotle taught us that the mark of an educated mind is to entertain a thought without accepting it. You can listen to someone's rant without absorbing their chaos. You can observe their storm without getting soaked. The paradox of power. Real power doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It doesn't need a microphone or a spotlight. True power is like gravity, invisible, constant, and absolutely undeniable in its effects. When you master the art of strategic silence, you tap into something most people never discover: presence, without performance. You become someone who shifts the energy of a room simply by being there, not by dominating the conversation. The Jung revelation Carl Jung warned us: people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. This includes arguing with no intention of learning, growing, or finding truth. They argue to avoid the uncomfortable work of self-examination. When you refuse to engage in these ego battles, you're not just protecting your peace, you're forcing them to confront the very thing they're trying to escape: themselves. The Stoic fortress. The Stoics talked about building an inner fortress, a space in your mind that remains unshakable regardless of external chaos. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This isn't about becoming emotionally numb. It's about becoming emotionally intelligent enough to recognize what deserves your energy and what doesn't. The energy economics Aristotle said that the energy of the mind is the essence of life. So here's the million-dollar question. How much of your life force are you hemorrhaging by engaging in arguments that serve no purpose other than feeding someone else's ego? Every time you explain yourself to someone who's already decided not to understand, you're making a poor investment. You're spending precious mental currency on a conversation that will never yield a return. The discipline of restraint, Seneca taught us. Waste no time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. This is the difference between talking about your values and living them, between explaining your standards and embodying them. When you know who you are at your core, you stop needing to narrate every decision to people who weren't part of the process anyway. The transformation principle. Here's where the real magic happens. When you consistently choose silence over reaction, something profound shifts in how others perceive and interact with you. You begin to command a different kind of respect, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it through your unshakable composure. People start adjusting their behavior around you. They bring their better selves to interactions because your presence demands it. Your silence becomes a standard that elevates everyone in your orbit. The uncomfortable truth: not everyone will understand the version of you that no longer explains itself. Some people were only attracted to your chaos, your reactivity, your willingness to engage in drama. When you outgrow that version of yourself, you might outgrow some relationships too. That's not a loss, that's an upgrade. The mastery mindset. The ancient philosophers weren't teaching us to become antisocial or emotionally unavailable. They were teaching us to become strategically selective with our energy, to recognize the difference between a conversation worth having and a battle not worth fighting. This is about developing the wisdom to know when your voice will make a difference, and when your silence will make a statement. The final revelations. Oh, here we are, at the crossroads of transformation. You now hold a secret that most people will spend their entire lives searching for without ever finding: the power to remain unshakable in a world designed to shake you. Imagine this. Tomorrow, when someone tries to pull you into their emotional tornado, you'll feel that familiar urge to react rising in your chest. But this time, instead of being swept away, you'll pause, you'll breathe, you'll remember that your peace is not negotiable and your energy is not for sale. Picture the look on their face when their provocation meets your composure. Watch how quickly their aggression deflates when it has nothing to bounce off of. See how your silence forces them to confront the very thing they were trying to avoid: themselves. This is your moment of choice. You can continue being reactive, explaining yourself to people who've already made up their minds, spending your precious life force on conversations that drain rather than sustain you. Or you can join the ranks of history's most respected leaders, thinkers, and influencers who understood that true strength whispers while weakness shouts, who knew that the most powerful response is sometimes no response at all. Marcus Aurelius faced the weight of an empire and still found time to remind himself daily that tranquility comes when you stop caring what others say, think, or do, and focus only on what you do. If he could maintain his inner fortress while ruling Rome, you can maintain yours in your daily life. Socrates transformed civilization, not by winning arguments, but by asking better questions and holding space for wisdom to emerge. His legacy wasn't built on the battles he won, but on the peace he maintained within himself. The choice is yours. Will you continue to be at the mercy of every person who decides to test your patience? Or will you develop the kind of inner strength that doesn't need to prove itself because it simply knows? Here's my challenge to you. For the next 7 days, practice strategic silence. When someone tries to bait you into an argument, pause, breathe. Choose your response consciously rather than reacting automatically. Watch how this single shift begins to transform not just your interactions, but your entire relationship with your own power. Remember, your silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. Your restraint is not passivity, it's strength. Your peace is not surrender, it's victory. But ancient philosophers spent lifetimes perfecting this art so that you wouldn't have to. They left you a roadmap to inner freedom, drawn in the ink of their own experience and suffering. Don't waste their gift. The world is full of noise, but it's desperate for people who know when to be still. Be that person. Be the calm in someone else's storm. Be the strength that doesn't need to flex. Be the power that doesn't need to prove itself. Your future self, the version of you who has mastered this ancient art, is watching this moment. They're hoping you'll make the choice that leads to them. The choice to value your peace more than your pride, to treasure your energy more than your ego. The Stoics believed that we become what we repeatedly do. So what will you repeatedly choose? Reaction or response, chaos or calm, noise or profound, powerful silence? The answer you choose today will echo through every interaction you have for the rest of your life. Choose wisely. Choose silently. Choose strength. If this message resonated with something deep within you, there's another piece of ancient wisdom waiting in the next video that will take you even further down this path of inner mastery. Your journey to unshakable peace has only just begun. Stay strong, stay silent, stay sovereign.